In a quiet meadow tucked behind whispering trees, lived a pig named David, who dreamed of finding something truly special. Something that would make the world feel a little more magical. Every morning, David trotted through the clover with a satchel tied around his belly, hoping today would be the day he'd find his heart's desire. One breezy afternoon, David found a shimmering dandelion puff glistening under a sunbeam, and as he gently held it in his hooves, he whispered, "I wish to find the place where wishes come true." The dandelion shimmered brighter than any David had ever seen, and with a whoosh of wind, it lifted from his hoof and danced ahead of him, as if guiding him forward. David followed the floating puff across babbling brooks and beneath arching rainbows, his little legs quick and his eyes wide with wonder. As the sun began to dip, David reached a hill where the wind played a gentle tune through wildflowers, and he felt something tug at his heart, a feeling that he was close. He climbed the hill slowly, the sky painting itself with hues of lavender and gold, and at the top the dandelion puff paused midair and hovered beside a ring of mushrooms. David stepped into the ring, unsure of what would happen, and in a blink, the world shimmered. The colors deepened, the breeze warmed, and a hush fell over everything. Before him now stood a forest of glowing trees, their trunks like glass and their leaves humming softly with light. And David's mouth fell open in silent awe. He wandered in slowly, listening to the heartbeat of this dreamlike grove, where the air tasted of vanilla and starlight, and soft petals floated like snow. At the center of the grove was a pool that reflected not just David's face, but his hopes, dreams, and every small kindness he'd ever given. David knelt beside the pool, and the dandelion puff drifted down to its surface, sending out gentle ripples that sparkled with hidden songs. A voice, no louder than a breeze, whispered from the ripples, "Your wish lives in the journey, David. Look at how far you've come." Tears sparkled in David's eyes, not from sadness but from understanding, as he realized the magic wasn't a place or a thing. It was the adventure itself. The grove pulsed gently around him, cradling his heart with warmth, and slowly, it began to fade like a dream slipping into morning light. David found himself back on the hill, the dandelion puff now settled softly behind his ear, and a feeling of peace wrapped around him like a hug. He looked out over the valley, everything suddenly more vivid. The chirping crickets, the rustling leaves, the glow of the moon just beginning to rise. With a joyful squeal, David bounded down the hill, not because he needed to find anything more, but because he finally understood what it meant to truly be on a quest. As he passed the brook again, he paused to drop a pebble in, watching the ripples stretch out just like his dreams, endless and curious. He returned to his meadow home beneath the whispering trees, curling into a patch of soft moss with the dandelion still tucked behind his ear. The stars twinkled above, and the night air was filled with the hum of insects and the sigh of distant breezes, and David smiled in his sleep. Even in dreams, his hooves twitched with the memory of glowing forests and warm wishes, and his heart beat steady with wonder. And though he had not found a treasure chest or a crown, David had discovered something far greater. He had found his place in the wide, wonderful world. From that day forward, David greeted each morning with a spark in his heart and a question in his mind. Where will the wind carry me next?